Have you ever wondered why every corner of the world, every tribe, ancient empire, and isolated island has myths about monsters that shouldn't exist? Some cultures feared them, some worshipped them, some claimed they saw them face to face. In this video, we'll look at 7 mythical creatures who, while unproven scientifically, seemed real enough to affect belief, history, and human imagination. 7. The Golem. Our entry begins in the murky streets of 16th century Prague, where terror was more than a sensation. It was a shadow that stalked the Jewish population at night. The Golem was not born, it was built. Picture this, a towering humanoid shape, 2 or 3 times the size of a man, fashioned from clay dug directly from the river. Its skin flaked like dried dirt, and its eyes were blank, as if staring into eternity, according to mythology. A rabbi created this behemoth to shield his people from persecution, and with a single word, Emet, truth, written on its forehead, the clay breathed. But the Golem was more than just a guardian. It was unstoppable. Witnesses reported that it lifted carts with one hand, patrolled rooftops, and followed its master like a silent shadow. However, the legend warns that a creation without a soul cannot grasp limitations. When the Golem became uncontrollable, the rabbi deleted one letter from its forehead, transforming truth into death, and it fell where it stood. Some claim the clay body is still buried in a walled attic in Prague. Others believe the Golem was not a creature, but rather a metaphor for the dangers of unbridled power. In any case, the concept of a man-made behemoth persists in current fiction, from video games to sci-fi labs. Before we move on, what do you think? If humans could build a living creature today, should we? 6. Godzilla. We now transition from ancient legends to modern myth, a creature so huge and iconic that it has influenced an entire world civilization. Godzilla is not only a monster, he is a warning. Godzilla debuted in Japan's 1954 film Gojira as a 328-foot colossus rising from the sea, with armor-like scales, jagged dorsal plates like volcanic rock, and a tail long enough to rip a bridge in half. His howl broke the windows. His radioactive breath melted steel. Godzilla's mythical status stems from the fact that he was not created through fantasy. He was driven by dread, notably the fear of nuclear annihilation in the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The creature became a symbol of nature's retaliation, a penalty for the weapons humanity unleashed. Over the years, Godzilla transitioned from devastation to guardian, fighting monsters such as Mothra and King Ghidorah. His silhouette alone has become a global symbol, appearing in over 30 films, games, posters, and even political cartoons. Sure, there is no huge reptile that roam the oceans. The emotional truth behind Godzilla is that tampering with unknown energies might awaken horrific creatures. 5. Krampus. Snow falls peacefully in the alpine communities. Families congregate around fireplaces. Children are waiting for goodies. It's the spirit of Christmas. However, not every December visitor brings delight. Krampus, the horned shadow of Christmas. Krampus punishes the wicked, whereas Santa rewards the virtuous. Imagine a creature, a mix between a demon and a beast, with twisted goat horns, glaring crimson eyes, black fur, and rattling chains. In one hand, he wields birch rods to discipline disobedient children. In the other, a sack. According to legends, those who are tossed inside never return. Krampus has its origins in old alpine pagan ceremonies, long before Christianity existed. For decades, parents cautioned youngsters that if they misbehaved, Krampus would appear not as a myth, but as a real person strolling the streets. Authorities attempted to suppress the legend in the 1950s, but fear is persistent, and tradition is much more so. Today, many attend Krampus festivities. Costumed individuals run through the streets, clanging chains, swiping legs, and releasing bone-deep terror. Yet people enjoy it. Is Krampus real? There is no evidence, but belief alone gave him life, and sometimes it is all a monster needs. 4. Mermaids. Next, we head into deep waters, surrounded by creatures both beautiful and deadly. When you hear mermaid, you may think of shining tales, sweet whispers, and fairy tale romance. However, ancient sailors would have told you something very different. In Norse, Greek, and Celtic mythology, mermaids, often known as sirens, were omens of disaster. Their voices drew ships off course, their faces appeared in storms, and their touch caused lunacy. Early depictions did not even depict them with fishtails. They were half woman, half bird, monsters of the sky and sea with razor-sharp claws and pale, otherworldly features. Their shape and form evolved as the stories moved between cultures. The bird features became a tail. The monster transformed into a maiden. However, the threat remained the same. Hundreds of sailors over the centuries have reported seeing women in the water, singing through fog, or floating alongside destroyed ships. Some descriptions match manatees, whereas some don't. Even today, weird videos appear online. Long silhouettes, bright eyes beneath waves, and distortions that technology cannot fully explain. Mermaids are not real, according to science, but the ocean conceals 80% of its mysteries in darkness. So, the question is, are mermaids a myth or a creature we have yet to meet? 3. Bigfoot. Our next monster lives in places few humans dare to go, in the depth of towering woods. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is one of the world's most enduring modern legends. A massive ape-like humanoid standing over 7 feet tall, covered in thick hair, with long limbs and a heavy stride. The 1967 Patterson-Gimlin video, a shaky clip of a massive figure walking calmly through the woods, turning its head in a way no known animal does, is the most popular piece of evidence. But that is not all. Hundreds of sightings describe the same monster with broad shoulders, human-like features, and massive footsteps. One witness stated, "It didn't run, it didn't hide, it just looked at me, like I was the one trespassing." Some scientists believe Bigfoot stories are relics of Gigantopithecus, a giant ape that once roamed Asia. Others believe Bigfoot and the Yeti have a same origin, separated by migration across continents. The distinctions are simple. Bigfoot inhabits North American jungles, while the Yeti dwells in the Himalayan snow. Dark fur versus white, trees versus ice. No physical body has ever been found, but absence of proof isn't proof of absence. Many wilderness experts believe there are still parts of the planet unexplored by humans. If a giant primate survived there, would anyone know? 2. The Bloop. It was recorded in 1997 and heard from sensors 3,000 miles apart. It was louder than a blue whale, yet lower than any known monster, and it was unlike any sound ever recorded in the water. This is the Bloop, a riddle that has astounded oceanographers and conspiracy theorists alike. The roar was so loud that the microphones designed to monitor Cold War submarines all picked it up right away. At first, experts assumed it had to be biological, but the frequency was too low, and the scale was too large. Some people noticed that the coordinates were frighteningly near to the fictitious underwater city of R'lyeh, where H.P. Lovecraft wrote that the monster Cthulhu sleeps. Coincidence? Probably, but the internet did not think so. For years, speculations have exploded. A primordial Leviathan awakening, a skyscraper-sized beast, something rising from beneath the tectonic plates. Eventually, the official explanation said that the bloop was the sound of an ice shelf cracking. Case closed. But here's the twist. If you compare the bloop's audio pattern to known ice quakes, it doesn't perfectly match. And even today, some researchers admit they aren't 100% sure. The bloop may have been ice, or it may have been something alive, something colossal, something we were never meant to hear. 1. The Chimera. For our final creature, we return to the ancient world, to a monster woven from nightmares. The Chimera was described as a fire-breathing beast with a lion's body, a goat's head emerging from its back, and a venomous serpent for a tail. It destroyed Lycia, leaving only burnt dirt and charred bones. It was eventually defeated by the hero Bellerophon, riding the winged horse Pegasus. But the Chimera did not die, because the term chimera now has a scientific connotation, which is far stranger than myth. Modern chimeras exist, not as monsters, but as beings with genetic material from other species. Scientists developed mice with human brain cells. Goats produce spider silk proteins and embryos derived from several species. The chimera has shown itself in ways that the ancients could not have predicted. It embodies humanity's greatest fear and fascination, mingling what should never be combined. The chimera may not be a fire-breathing beast, However, as an idea, warning, and scientific frontier, it is more relevant than ever. Myths endure because they appeal to something old within us: fear, curiosity, and wonder. Perhaps these creatures never trod the earth, or perhaps they did, just not in the forms we expected. Which one intrigued you the most? And what mythical creature shall we discuss next? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you in the next video.